actually, you said something too that I think is really important too, is a lot of people will say the enemy is attacking me when we're actually giving credit to the enemy instead of where we should be giving credit to God, because God is actually testing us. I think that we're being tested for something bigger, because if we can't pass this test, right, then we're not going to be able to be ready for the next one.
Good.
And so we're giving credit to the wrong person, when in reality that's how you remove victim and add empowerment to yourself.
So good.
Because you're looking at like, okay, what's going on right now? Like, what do I need to learn from this, as opposed to like, why me?
Yeah.
What do I need to learn from this, as opposed to like, why me?
So good.
And so that's why I think it's really important to look at what's the test in this. And when you are going, and kind of go back to, is like when you're going down this deep cycle, what I learned is that it doesn't necessarily go away. You just shorten the length that you're in that hole.
Good.
So what maybe used to take like a month, you're like in this rut for a month. All right, well, maybe let's learn how to do it in 2 weeks. Let's get over it in 2 weeks, and then a week, and then 5 days, and then 3 days, and then 1 day. And then now you've recognized these tendencies that get you down this rut, and let's just stop it sooner.
It's good. And a whole lot easier to do when you've got intrusive accountability with men that will lift you up, hold you up, and are moving in the same mission and vision as you.
Yeah, and you got to be open to being vulnerable too.
Yeah.
That's what I learned too, is you got to be open to be vulnerable and authentic to yourself.
So good. Yeah. And that's vulnerability and authenticity is sometimes like a touchy subject, because it's almost like emotional move, especially for a lot of guys and a lot of veterans. And the way that you learn how to, this is my experience, the way that you learn how to process your emotions is by spending time with men that have full emotional range.
Yeah.
And so if you're hanging out, veteran, post-service, 6 months, 10 years with barstool buddies that are emotionally constipated and they're stuck and their life is, for lack of a better word, fucked. Like if that's your circle, their emotional range is not going to be vulnerability, authenticity, and living with purpose.
No.
And so you have to be able and be willing to humble yourself and get inside new rooms with men like Pastor Keith we talked about, Steve Weatherford, Justin Herman's a great example, but the men inside Mighty Men that put faith first are following another template. You get around that, you start learning to process, experience, and feel the way that you need to feel as a human to be able to better interact with all your relationships.
And I think it's really important too, is because I've kind of been in that slump before. I feel like God's given me all of these opportunities to grow from. And we're humans, so we just keep throwing ourselves in the pit, right? He'll pluck you back up, put you back on. You're like, back right into like a dodo bird, right? Just right back into it. But what I kept coming back to is whenever I got into these complacent parts of my life, I would see something like, somebody do what we talked about, like hurt themselves, or maybe it was somebody I didn't know, but I saw it on social media. And I wrote on my whiteboard, stop making it about you. Somebody's waiting on your growth.
So good.
Because really is your struggles, trials, tribulations, everything that you're going through, somebody else is relying on you to be able to pick yourself up and get out of there, so that you can help them get out.
So good.